Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And to all of you, thank you for your leadership, your commitment, and all you have given for your country. We're appreciative and grateful. We recognize, so many of us recognize just the role of our reserve forces and all that they bring in terms of talent and experience to the fight. So thank you. In Alaska, we certainly see that every day, not only at the tip of the spear when it comes to homeland defense, but all that goes on from the 24/7 radar operations, what they're able to do with search and rescue capability. We can't live without you. I think there's a song about that. Let me ask you, General Hokanson, because we have talked a lot about the Air National Guard transition of the 575 AGR positions to technician billets. Alaska takes the greatest cut in the AGR airmen, but Senator Shaheen mentioned it from New Hampshire's perspective here. In the House NDAA, there was an increase to the Air National Guard's AGR ceiling. It added 403 positions. Does this provide enough stability to the Guard to pause the current full-time leveling? As we have discussed, Alaska's on a year pause. That's helpful, but is this the answer here? And as you're answering that, if you can share with me whether you've had conversations with either the NORTHCOM, the PACAV, Secretary Kendall or General Salzman on the impact that the full-time leveling would have on their ability to perform their missions.
Yes, Senator. So when you look at the addition of about 400, that just moves the conversation 1 or 2 years down the road. And what I asked our team is I said, look, we have to stop iterating. Tell me what the actual solution is that we need. And so when they did that full analysis, and Alaska is a great example, what we're doing is we continue to ask more and more of our National Guardsmen, but we don't provide the full-time manning to sustain that, particularly when you have 24/7 operations. And this week alone, we had a Air Force or a rescue unit save 6 people in an airplane crash in Alaska. That capability is made possible by the full-time manning within those units. And so when I told them, stop looking at the iterative, tell me what the actual answer is. And so they came up with 29,100, and we can actually show you exactly where that manning would be to prevent making a decision where somebody has to go from an AGR to a technician position. As I mentioned earlier, we do have a legislative proposal in to fix the Technician Act because it's just not competitive at all in today's environment. You can't live on that in Alaska. Those are very expensive environments, but we ask a lot of them. And so as a result, my best advice is to get a 29,100 AGRs within the Air National Guard, and then also to fix the technician program. I know we're working with your state to mitigate the impacts of that. We pushed it back a year while we get this hopefully support and all the data so that we can get the right answer, so we can continue to provide the capabilities that our communities and frankly our nation need every single day.
Well, and I appreciate your response to that, but I also recognize that as I talk to these AGR folks back home, they've got decisions to make. They have family commitments that they're looking to, and all they see right now is instability. And thank you for the 1-year reprieve, but this is not the only thing that they're looking at with concern. We've also talked an awful lot about the Space Force considerations, the fact that Air Force wants to force our Air Guardsmen into the active duty Space Force. There's been a lot of back and forth from National Guard Bureau saying it's not going to cost that much. Air Force says it's going to cost a lot. But what is really going to cost us is when these people vote with their feet, when they leave, and then we lose that experience that we have invested in them. And so I know that this is, again, one of those issues that is generating a lot of debate out there. But I look at that, and I listen to what's being discussed up at Clear Air Force Station as they are manning that operation. I look at what's going on with this leveling, and the greatest benefit that you have with your reserves has been the stability that comes with these positions. And I note that, Lieutenant General Healy, you've shared that the recruiting efforts are great within active duty and reserve forces, but they're lagging within the Air National Guard. And it just causes me to wonder whether or not this self-inflicted instability is having a very detrimental impact on our ability to execute the mission and really do right by our AGR folks.
Yes, Senator, and as you know, it's all about our people. The equipment is nothing without them. And we look at every one of our families. They want to take care of their family, and so they need that stability. And we all need that. And so we're trying to do everything we can to provide that stability. And I've been very clear in my conversations about the Space Force from day one. You know, we actually have a Space National Guard. We're just not willing to admit it.
Right.
We have Space Forces that have been doing
They
this.
should come up and see, right?
Yeah, for 27 years we've been. So it actually does exist. We just don't name it that. And when you look at the full-time manning requirements, 74% in our latest survey said that they want to stay in the Air National Guard. And frankly, we've been doing this for the past over 4 years since the creation of the Space Force, and we can continue to do that. But if we don't take care of our people, if we don't give them predictability, those decades of experience that they have that will take decades to replace, they're going to vote with their feet and they're going to do something else. And at this point, the critical point in the history right now of global environments, now is not the time to lose those people.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.